Thank you for joining our Breath Our Memory podcast, where we explore wellness, joy, and creativity through the lens of health and community. Now, I'm your host, Dr. Ayana Perkins, and today I'm going to bring together to our listening audience a health scientist who has over 20 years in public health evaluation, as well as a lot of international work. And this person is Nilu Rimal. Nilu, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
My pleasure. And thank you for inviting in your podcast, Ayana. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm great. I feel even better after speaking with you. You know, Neela, we've known each other for over 20 years and have worked in qualitative research and worked across different public health topics,
HIV/AIDS, HIV/AIDS
HIV/AIDS,
specifically.
behavioral health. And now I think we're exploring some more environmental health work. And so, you have worked across the world. What are some of the places where you have worked in evaluation?
Oh, the list goes long, but I will mention major places that I have repeatedly traveled.
Mhm.
The most recent, if I start from the most recent, it is Senegal. In between 2017 and 2022, I might have traveled that country 5, 6 times.
Wow,
Niger.
nice.
Niger and Burkina Faso, I did not go, although it was of the same project. Niger, it's like 4, 5, 6 times. I lost the count. I have to look at my passport, old passport, that too. And then Guatemala,
Oh,
repeatedly
wow.
I went. And in Latin America, Guatemala, Dominican Republic, repeatedly visited. And then in the past, if you go way back when I was working with Jackson Foundation and especially FHI 360, URC, in those days, prior to 2016, I must say, Mozambique, highly visited
Mm.
country, Kenya, Tanzania,
Oh,
Uganda, and Nigeria, those were repeatedly visited country. And not so one time or 2 time visit includes East Timor in Asian region, Thailand, um, Mexico. The Mexico was only for the conference. I wouldn't count that. But for work related, there are countries like Rwanda. I visited only once.
mhm.
Malawi, I visited only twice, I think. So yeah, just if I count work related travel for
Mhm.
technical assistance and leadership, it is 24 countries
Wow.
across
And so,
Africa, Latin America, and Asia. In Asia, only 2 countries actually, Thailand and East Timor.
wow. So you have quite a bit of experience in evaluation. And what would you say is your approach to evaluation? Like, what guides your work?
My evaluation work, what guides? That's the question.
Yes.
I have to look back in the beginning, in early days, in my tech days. Remember,
Yes.
Ayana, when we
That's
were
where we started.
in those days, and even post after that, until 2008, 9, 10, I was very much methodology oriented. I wanted my methodology to be robust and perfect. I would you used to have all my points gathered to be defensive. If somebody asked why this was, that used to take a lot of my mind power. And as I progressed, I started to realize it is not perfect, no matter what you do,
Exactly.
right? Evaluation, monitoring, like anything else, it is not perfect. No matter how robust your design is, there is always weak points. There is always biases. And yeah, evaluation literature tells us to account for those biases. And I knew back then too, but I was more focused on how to make it right, not focusing on taking account of biases. And as I
Mhm.
progressed, I started thinking like biases, taking account of biases is the first important thing. Okay, these are the things within our control that we
Mhm.
can mitigate. These are the things beyond our control we have to take account of. And that brought me into jump into the complexity aware monitoring methods.
Yes, I
you
got to
know,
attend one of your webinars. It's a very interesting
yeah,
method. Can you tell us
you
more
know,
about that?
Yeah. And when USAID came up with complexity aware monitoring method, and I read, yes, that was the thing. It was not legitimized, so to speak, in evaluation world. So complexity awareness method, and that's where I started focusing on. And traditional method of monitoring of your indicator, performance tracking, and your baseline, midterm, final evaluation. Those are the accountability factors. Donor require that, and we do that according to the theory of change, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to so many things there are in the field that are not accounted for, and also that biases said earlier, weaknesses,
Right.
that also remains. Okay, we account for that, but that remains in the documentation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing moves from there actually in the traditional method. That's when I started noticing, and I started taking deliberate effort to be intentional. And in one of the big projects, midterm report showed mediocre performance, but while in the field
Yes.
people were talking about, no, this is there is much more. And that's what intrigued me to connect two into my passion, emerging passion, I would say, for
Mm-hmm.
complexity aware method. And I wrote a proposal. I stuck with our executive leadership team in my organization. They gave the green signal. I conveyed that to our field leadership as well. See, this is what we need to do, that we need to show our real actual impact. We should not let it just go with the whatever midterm evaluation showed us, because
Mm-hmm.
that has value for the future projects as well. That is true accounting. and
Course.
um, and then I talked with the USAID AOR of that region, and he said, okay, submit a proposal. I
Mm-hmm.
submitted, he approved.
Yeah, that's always nice.
And that was for as I'm saying, I'm so excited, saying that I forgot to mention the method of complexity. There are so many methods. That proposal was for outcome harvesting. And
Okay.
so we did outcome harvesting in 2 countries, and a lot of eye openers there.
Wow.
So to answer your question, Ayana, I progressed from being totally methodologically, devoted to their like word for word, to more looking in the broader picture and trying to see what else. I'm not denying that traditional method is still needed
Yes,
for
of course.
accountability, right? Have we achieved the goal or have we not? But
Mm-hmm.
we need to look a little bit outside of the box as well. That's what I want to say. So I hope I answered your question.
You did. And, as you were talking, and I started thinking about, your work in complexity awareness types of strategies, I also thought about the data that you were able to use to kind of tell stories, right? Of course, you want to measure impact. And one of the things I know that we have in common is that we value qualitative methods. Now, you have worked across a number of countries and you have a lot of experience being able to gather stories to learn more about health impacts. And I'm curious, when you're using qualitative methods, because I actually received my qualitative analytical training under you when we were, I think it was called Nudis. It's
Yeah.
now in vivo, right?
Yeah,
So
it's
this
in
is
vivo.
how long we've been working in it. And what are one of the storytelling approaches that you've used either with recipients or funders to kind of explain the impacts? I know you gather data through complexity awareness, but um, how do you use stories to kind of share with folks the importance of the findings or using evaluation methods or maybe explaining the impact of the work of your projects?
Yes, and storytelling is even in the traditional method.
Yes.
Storytelling was always there, and I will apply both methods. In the traditional method, you look the bigger all the data point and all that, and then and usually with all those surveys, quantitative surveys, always is parallel with the qualitative studies. And
Yes.
sometimes the qualitative studies also is only focus group or something. But based on that data, what emerged? Take a theme of that emerging theme. What is the, two or three themes, narrow down to, and what is the most emerging theme? And find the role model who is applying that deviance. That is called positive deviance in case of success. And in case of
Nice.
not so success, it is a negative deviance. Find this positive and negative deviance. Find the
Mm-hmm.
work with, of course, work with the field. Can you bring me one of these candidates so that we can capture more information? And
Nice.
and in the complexity aware method too, that's the same rules apply. So I would personally look at after looking at the both qualitative and quantitative data, I would look for the deviances.
Okay, so these are
So
the deviants that stand out and
mhm,
are cases that really tell the story of a positive outcome and then maybe a negative outcome or a
that also helps.
challenge. Or, okay, that's perfect. Okay, thank you. And as we're talking about some of your work, I am curious. Um, what are some of the things that bring you joy? I know you really love your complexity aware methods, and of course, I'm imagining it's bringing you joy. But what other things bring you joy in evaluation?
Yeah, when we talk about evaluation, we do external. Whatever we do, evaluation is external to our inner self, right?
Right.
And I'm trying to apply that external method to my knowing my own inner self too. There is data. What are our data tools? Our five sense perceptions are our data tools. That
Yes.
is the platform that collects data.
Hmm.
And then inside we have our mind, we have our intellect, and don't forget we have our ego too. There is a hierarchy of layer that
Hmm.
processes data and manufactures and builds a story. Let me tell you, if I see something and then that view, or even if I hear something, goes into my mind, and then that is a perceptive mind, that is the data collection platform, and it
Hmm.
passes to my memory channel. Okay,
Nice.
build a story here. Memory does a very good job associating with the past and experience, and then
Yes.
it brings out a good story, and then that story gets channeled to intellect to determine whether it is a what kind of action should I take or not, and intellect determines, okay, you should talk, you should stay quiet, you should be angry, you should be whatever, however you want to articulate. Intellect determines, and there is a hierarchy. The boss of all is your ego, and that tells, okay, I approve or I disapprove, and whatever it does, that's what happens. So that's what I apply inner to.
Hmm.
And so, having said that, what I do, I like meditation. I do
Nice.
daily meditation and mindfulness. It's, yeah.
So, Nilu, you have a busy schedule and, you worked in the field. And it's often challenging, right? So when you're working in public health or environmental health, one of the things we know is that it requires a lot of great time management. And how do you squeeze in meditation?
Oh, that is easy actually. One thing is I'm very disciplined when it comes to that. Unless some extraordinary situation comes or I have to stay up late at job. Other than that, I usually go to bed by 7:30. Doesn't mean that I fall asleep at that time. I listen to some nice discourse podcast. But by that time, by 6, my external communication is all switched off. My phone, my Facebook, everything, nothing. I am in my own cave land. And so watch some TV and not much news, but some TV, some shows of my, what appeals me to, and then go to bed and listen to, that time my iPad is on to listen to some YouTube discourses and that. And by 8:30, I feel sleepy and I go to sleep. And then I wake up, around 3:30 or 3:45. And then by 4 o'clock, I'm really sitting in my meditation camp. I have location. I have a space designated for meditation, and I do sometime 1.5 hours. But usually, with all the ritual and everything, it comes to about 1 hour 15 minutes.
Um, what recommendations would you have for, new practitioners to to meditation?
My recommendation would be, first of all, make your determination. If you want to do
Mhm.
meditation, determine that I want to do it. Commit. If you don't have to do 1 full hour to start with, you can commit 10 minutes. It doesn't take much. And I would say morning is the best time. If you cannot
Mhm.
get up as early as like I do, even that is fine. Even if you wake up at 7 or 8, at least before eating your breakfast, after you freshen up, sit
Mhm.
there. And for that, the easy method, you don't have to do anything. Just focus on your breath. Just look at your breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Nothing complicated. Just start there.
Mhm.
But you have to sit quietly. Even if there are noise, fine. Just accept the way it is. That's how we operate in life. And what I find useful, and I recommend others too, is that as you do that, thoughts come so much. Focus on day's agenda. What is your day's agenda? I have
Mhm.
item 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Right? I have a busy day. I have a not so busy day. I have to deal with difficult people. I don't have to deal with difficult people. At that time, bring in your mind, well, after a while you're focusing, your mind start to get numb. At that time, well, how I am going to act today. Yeah,
Mhm.
especially with it is a day filled with calendar with the difficult people. Just tell yourself it's all okay, and you are the boss inside. Nobody is going to take that away.
I like that.
So
So it's a source of empowerment when you invest in meditation. Now, if I recall correctly, you have a book that's out that kind of offers
yes,
some
yes.
strategies. Can you tell us a little bit about that book?
Yeah, I can send you the link as well. It is called High Stress, Low Stress, No Stress. It is a workbook for navigating actually all kind of. I'm not saying you are going to be stress free. You
Mhm.
will know how to deal with stress actually. So that book also actually brings a little bit of a complexity lens. In complexity
Mhm.
theory, there are 4 types of situations: simple situation, complicated situation, complex situation, and chaos.
Mhm.
And most of our lives and most of the time actually is chaos because of high uncertainty, everything, and even these days, So,
Mhm.
but what I'm not saying is that it is chaotic all the time,
Right.
right? There are moments, some moments are chaotic. And I don't think anybody can say, I never faced a chaotic situation. So the
Mhm.
book is more geared toward how to handle the chaotic situation. And
Nice.
so there is also a lot of measurement. First of all, identify if your situation is chaotic or not, what creates a chaotic situation, and there are tools to designate that. And then once you know this is the chaotic situation, and then okay, how you manage your stress in chaotic situation. And there are all it is a tool there. I would say workbook, and there
Right.
are all the tools for you to assess yourself, and then there are recommendations.
I love that. And you know what? I think you offered the perfect example of how you and an advisor and evaluator can also apply these very structured and systematic ways, even with meditation, right? So we still get to be ourselves, whether we are being very mindful and resetting, but there's a way to deal with chaos in every situation. So it looks like you have strategies for both. You have the complexity aware evaluation method for working in public and environmental health and other types of topics, but you also have strategy for the chaos in just regular life with your workbook in dealing with high stress and low stress situations. And so it really highlights how as evaluators, we're still people too. And it's important that we have tools and skills to navigate every aspect of our life. And so, one of the things I'm curious, what are the things in your evaluation experience? What are maybe one project or experience that you're most proud of that you can look back and it just fills your heart with joy what you were able to accomplish? and
I have work.
evaluation?
I cannot take the name of some specific project,
Of
but
course.
I can tell you the type of project.
Okay.
I have worked in health related project, specifically PEPFAR. If it was you know that, right?
Yes,
President's
that was with
Emergency,
AIDS funding.
President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. It was during President Bush administration actually announced it,
Right.
and it was alive until a year and a half ago, uh,
Mm-hmm.
even after so many years. And then after that, President Obama had announced Global Health Initiative. Under that, I was very heavily engaged in health system strengthening, which I really
Nice.
loved. But after 2016, when my work scope expanded to more of a development field that included not only health became more community focused than health system focused, but there was resilience, food security, and
Yes.
climate and agriculture. So I like this climate resilience, food security type of program because it is a broader umbrella that actually um, encompasses everything: health,
Right.
agricultural productivity, food and nutrition. So yeah, now if I think back and if I have to what I want to focus in the future,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to focus more on climate and food security
Right.
and agricultural productivity, of course.
Nice. And I think there's a lot of growing interest in climate and food security. And not just in the United States, I think this is a global issue. So we kind of dove into some of the things that motivate you. But outside of your work, when you're not meditating, what also motivates you?
What else motivates me?
Yes.
Music.
Music. Okay, nice.
Yeah, even though I am not a pro music player, but I am always trying to put my hands on harmonium and some keyboard. I tried
Nice.
ukulele too, but I didn't find the string instrument very helpful for me. But
Mm-hmm.
these keyboard instruments, I think, if I practice every day, maybe I would get better. But it's based on my mood swing when I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So
What does
that
music do for you? Does it just calm you, excite you, inspire you?
it does everything.
Right.
It does everything, yeah.
Okay. And in addition to music, where do you go for connection? Like, where do you go to get grounded? Is your family? Is your friends? Is your meditation community?
Yeah, I mean, my family, especially if I talk about parents, they are in Nepal, and I find a connection with, of course, the family. And beside that, my high school friends. We
Nice.
have a team, although I have not spoken with them for a long time. I know they are not happy with me right now. So we have Facebook team and we gather in Facebook. We used to gather during COVID time. We used to gather very regularly, but these days
Wow.
we are not so much. But I'm going to reconnect with them, and that grounds me really. Going it's high school friend is something, Yana, that you can share such thing that you cannot share with your spouse. You cannot
Yes.
share with your parents or sibling. Definitely you cannot share at work, but your high school friends are such that kind of relationship, I must say. It's hard
Hmm.
because there is no there. First of all, there is no expectations. There
No,
is no boundaries. Nobody is judging you,
no.
and that I find very divine.
Yeah, because you know what? These are the folks who knew you before all the layers of adulthood and responsibility. And they know maybe your most innocent self, where you
Mhm.
could be as real as possible. And I think those long-term relationships, whether it's family or friends, they pull you back or tie you to that part of yourself that maybe wasn't as complicated. And speaking of other connections, if I remember correctly, you also have a connection with nature, whether it's hiking or being outside. What does nature do for you? Is it mindfulness or are you inspired? How do you get connected to nature?
we go hiking with my husband also is a great hiker. My son also is. And so we go hiking,
Mhm.
but the weather should support. But hiking definitely, and gardening. And, during these good weather days, I will spend all my day outside, sitting outside in the porch. And even we
Mhm.
have screen porch, and even in the night, sleep outside, bring my, portable bed outside, and I sleep
Nice.
outside every day, unless it is a thunderstorm or rain or something. Uh, Sleep outside. So
That
I
sounds so
like just being
peaceful.
out.
Mhm. It sounds like it's grounding and it's relaxing. And I am inspired to maybe use my porch in similar ways outside of just looking at the traffic going up and down the street. That does sound very relaxing. So, Neela, we learned a lot from you today. And if we wanted to get your book on high stress, low stress situations, what platforms can we get it from? You may have mentioned it. I just want to make sure for the people who listen that they are clear on where they can get your book.
I will send you the link. You can get in Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. Okay, that's
Just type
perfect.
Nilu Rimal. I think I have only one book so far published. So, and
More are coming.
the upcoming is there. I will announce it later. Uh, Upcoming will be on evaluation, not in stress management. So you can just, and the Nilu Rimal is very uncommon name, so that if you find Nilu Rimal, that is only me. So you can
Okay,
go
so that's Nilu and last name Rimal. So I
right.
want all of us to be checking out for that. I already brought my copy. I invite you to buy your copy. Nilu, any other, closing thoughts when it comes to being able to invest in joy when it comes to your evaluation work, whether it's working with communities and climate issues or dealing with other topics such as HIV/AIDS or food insecurity. How do you plan for joy when it comes to that work? Because the work is exciting, but it does take a lot. I know you mentioned meditation. Are there any other tips you can give us about making evaluation as rewarding as any other part of our life?
Yes, definitely. Meditation is not when only you sit quietly.
Oh,
Meditation is
great
happening
point.
continuously. That is reminding yourself of the impermanent nature of everything.
Oh,
The situation might be stressful, keep in mind that will not last. The situation might be very pleasant right now, but be sure that is not going to last. So that
right.
means not getting attached to anything. So if you are dealing with difficult people, sure, my mind, intellect, ego is reacting inside, but also
Hmm.
you have the mind power to remind yourself it is not permanent, and that other person is as vulnerable as you are, because they also have
Nice.
their mind, intellect, ego. So, so we
So
have
all
mind,
of our egos need to remember
right,
that everything is temporary and to not get attached. And
right.
if we need further reminders, we can read your book. So, Nilu, thank you for joining us today in the Breath Art Memory podcast. And we look forward to learning more from you when it comes to evaluation and even meditation. So, again, I advise everyone to rush and get a copy of Nilu's book and look forward to learning more about evaluation from her in podcasts to come. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we're going to stop here and wish you another day. Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank you, Liana, for
Thank
inviting. Bye
you.
now.
Bye.